All right, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. I know that both Havoc and I, of course, are streaming at the same time, so I will not be sad if you want to watch Havoc play Palia. She is super excited about the new expansion. I will also probably be playing it at some point. Not 100% sure if I'm going to be streaming it or not. I like Palia, but I don't know if that's really like my thing that I'm going to you know, stream or not. But anyway, we're gonna be playing some more Control today. I really like this game. It's really cool. Um, so let's go ahead and let's turn off this music, and then we can go ahead and pop on over. I might later. I don't know. We're trying to figure out how to do the like combined stream thing where we both of us are streaming the same thing at the same time. We just for some reason haven't done it yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop on over here. I am not gonna be able to have my model unfortunately again, because my PC just does not play nice with the game unfortunately. So I will be a disembodied voice as I freak out while everything's attacking me here. So let me know if you have any trouble like hearing like the game or anything. Alright, let's see. So we fought this boss in here. Oh, there's still dudes in here. They were definitely not in here last time I get back through this way. Undefined reading. Alright, it's got music like there's still enemies in here. So I guess I'll find out. Ooh, that game looks really cool. Have the power of yeet though, so oops. Take the yeet. That's right, bitches. Alright, so
Pt.2, head of comms.
oh no!
This got him.
Alright, what did I just get? Research and records. Okay, I got Tomasi's or Tomasi's ID. Well done, everyone. It was a strong campaign and perfectly executed. Alberto Tomasi. Word. Some stuff.
All right,
I think I already played
the
that.
situation in Cuba has been
Oh yeah, I remember. I was gonna teleport with this the cookie thing, right? And then I jumped off the edge by accident. Cause I was like, oh, it won't let me jump down here. And then it 100% did. And I died. So let's not be dumb this time. I feel like there wasn't, this many, these enemies like weren't here last time. Did it take me back? confused. I think I need to get over there. No, just we're gonna go. No.
Whoa. Have we been
Oh.
here before?
There we go.
No. I've stayed at a lot of roadside motels across the country, on the road, on the run, under the radar. This feels like all of them, like something recognized from a dream.
Kind of like almost like a liminal space, kind of.
Hello? Anyone here?
Yeah, this is the motel that they were talking about in the materials that I picked up. Hell yeah. What you working on? Something. Aha. There we go. Oh, damn. Got that ambition going.
The key has a black pyramid on it.
Black here. Janitor. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you have to click it like multiple times. Huh. Ring, ring, wishy, wishy. Hell yeah. Complete the astral plane challenge. That's gonna probably throw shit at me. Hotline will allow you to connect to extra dimensional entities. Imagine I just have to get past it, maybe? Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. I guess the strat was just to run past him. I probably could have handled that better.
It's an object of power. It doesn't connect to any typical network. A direct line to the astral plane and the board. And my hypothesis is, under the right conditions, to other planes of existence as well.
A director needs a team. My management team. These people know the secrets of the Bureau as well as I do. Some even better. Darling, Tomasi, Salvador, Marshall. Marshall especially, my head of operations. She sees right through me. She knows I don't like relying on people. The only person you should fail is yourself. But things change when you become director.
Oh.
I have it. The hotline.
With
I can reach Trench. Well, listen to him. He feels more like an echo. An echo with important info. I need to get back to Emily.
Watched a video of the new game and it looks a bit
People
more
react
action-based.
strongly when I tell them about you.
Can I do any sort of upgrades or anything here? I don't see any button options. Hey, what up, Saint? How's it going, dude? Astral reload. Rate of fire. Kind of like the headshot so far. Health boost, astral health boost, health recovery. Health recovery for element pickup 21%. Launch efficiency. I feel like I have this one equipped already. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Is it too soon to tell Emily? She might be able to help.
Gonna go tell Emily our secrets, huh? I also kind of want to know what her, who she keeps referring to when she's talking about, like, we, like, does she have, like, an entity within her that is, like, giving her these, abilities? Like, was she not, like, psychic to begin with? Like, yeah, she wants Emily to be a girlfriend. 100%. Hotline. Object of power 3-UE. Containment procedure. Object should be inaccessible for use except for the director. Description: para-utility. Object is a 1960s era red bakelite telephone. The rotary dial has been replaced with a black knob of unknown purpose. The phone weighs blank. Or is that just my brain wanting everything to be gay? I mean, they can be girlfriends. Nothing wrong with that. Yuri for the win. The object allows the director to communicate with the blank. If used by anyone other than the director, the object will cause lethal blank. See Darling presentation 11.6 for more information. The object is currently bound to Director Trench. Background: the object spontaneously manifested in the director's office. Placed on the desk, Director Northmore was the first known Bureau agent to use it. A battery of tests were run on the object, including blank and blank, but its origin remains unknown. That's correspondence. To all executive staff, I know there is some concern regarding our operations exceeding the annual budget. So long as we operate within the oldest house, we are obscured from scrutiny in many respects. If our budget demands are not exorbitant to the point of drawing attention, then they will be granted by the U.S. Treasury without question. The FBC is just another line in another spreadsheet that some lowly accountant won't even notice. Their eyes will skip over us as if we weren't even there. The nature of the oldest house allows us certain freedoms in how we operate. Our being here is no accident. Regards, Zachariah Trench, Director of the Federal Bureau of Control. The fucking lip bite. Oh yeah. Hotline. Okay, so I think I did that one. Let's try this one.
A director needs a team.
Oh, okay. It's the ones that I've already. Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. Alright, so I've already listened to these, I think. Okay, cool. Speak to Emily. Emily Chan. Jeez, this way.
Jesse, did you get the hotline? I mean, how is it out there? The comms, the hiss? Sorry.
Oh my god.
You made it. I'm glad.
Emily?
Analysis of Hiss Threat Part 1 Confidential Summary. Initial encounters with the entity known as the Hiss have revealed various behavioral effects. Most notably, the Hiss is able to invade or corrupt control points, altered items, and even humans, radically changing their behavior. Curiously, any person wearing one of the wearable HRA devices that Dr. Darling has been distributing over the past weeks has not affected by this corruption. The only known exemption to this fact is the new director, Jesse Faden, who possesses an inherent immunity to the Hiss. This could indicate that she has already been corrupted, but her behavior is so in contrast to that of the other Hiss that I have dismissed the theory. My final observation comes from Miss Faden herself. She is able to cleanse material and organisms of the Hiss corruption. We tested this ability on a Hiss corrupted entity, but unfortunately the process seemed to kill the host. Perhaps the host's physiology becomes reliant on the Hiss. More work to be done. Refer to the blank file for full report.
Let's talk.
Of course.
I got the hotline. I can make out what Trench is saying now.
Incredible. What did he say?
He talked about his management team. People who knew the Bureau's secrets. Your boss, Darling. Tomasi, but he's gone. Salvador?
He's the head of security.
And Marshall?
Helen Marshall is head of operations. She's tough, ex-CIA. She took her rangers and went to the research sector to secure the HRA production. She hasn't come back.
Someone who could help us. The other sectors. How do I get there?
It's impossible because of the internal lockdown. You can perform a directorial override to lift it, but that can only be done in the maintenance sector. Normally, you take the sector elevator down there. It connects all the sectors, but it won't work while the lockdown is in effect.
We already got past one lockdown. Maybe I can find a way.
Jesse, look, with no prep, no training, in this extreme situation, you are doing phenomenally well. And all that and the Hiss can't seem to affect you. I mean, I would love to run some tests on you. If you agree, that is. We could find out something that would help us.
She wants to see what I got under my clothes.
I don't know. She might find out about you. But I wouldn't mind understanding more myself. Okay. If you think it will help.
Great. I'll check the internal documentation for any lockdown bypasses. We need to get these sectors open to locate Darling and Marshall.
And I'll look for a way
You
inside
were
the
right, you
maintenance
called
sector. The sooner we find one, the sooner I reach this override.
I don't know what's up with like the graphics. Like for some reason, like the texturing on the characters keeps downscaling for some reason. I don't know, it's weird. Like I turned it up a little bit more, and it's working here. Everything should be a little good. Yeah, I don't feel like messing with it, but it just kind of sucks, you know? Oh, I just realized I can't see Twitch. There we go. Now I can see chat and Twitch. Cool. That's true. I had to create a desktop audio source too, which is really random because I haven't had to do that with any of the other games. So I don't know why I had to do that, but that's okay. 4 ability points received. Upgrade and unlock new abilities from the nearest control point. Finally! Fucking Christ. I think... Should I... I'm gonna talk to her first, I guess.
Hi, Jesse.
Oh, I've already asked her all this.
Thanks, Emily. I'm sure I'll have more questions soon.
Oh, was that like way too
Just
loud?
let me know.
I'm so sorry. It was
Do you hear that?
disproportionately
Someone's
loud.
singing. Where's it coming from?
Singing. Sounds like it's coming from the elevator.
It's possible. With what? We can't get any equipment from the research center until the internal lockdown is lifted.
Let's see what we can find around here.
Okay.
Computer.
Alright, let's see. Add personal mod slot. Do another health, do energy, do melee damage, and I can do launch. These are locked. I mean, I kind of feel like since I'm not that great at the game, more health might be a good thing. Milestone rewards. Okay. We need more health, I think. Not enough essence to reset abilities. Oh, I have other perks here too. Oh, I see. It goes like down like this. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna get some health. Additional weapon form slot. Hell yeah. Oh, I don't have any more points. Okay.
Documents, any measuring devices you can find.
Hell yeah. Alright, well, let's see. I thought it said I had a new weapon form slot. Did it lie to me? Wait, weapon forms, weapon mods. Oh, maybe it's this. Oh, it's just the slot for it. It doesn't. Okay, whatever. Personal mods. Do I have another slot or... No, I don't have another slot yet. Okay, that's fine. Assets, materials, mission. Hotline's got something new. Board countermeasures. Countermeasure strategy. Accepting ingest them at control points. These countermeasures will benefit you. It will give you resources/rewards for each completed countermeasure. Oh, okay.
Helping Pope is a surefire way to get on Darwin's good side.
Construct shatter. Oh, okay. Oh, this is where we upgrade things. Okay. Well, shit, I wish I had known this before I went and did stuff, so. Okay. Well, at least we found it. That's important. Kill enemies in the executive sector. Pyramid base must be protected. Spin maneuvers. I don't have a spin mode yet. I do have shatter. Charge maneuvers. Charge mode. With headshots. Let's do this one first. Kill enemies in the executive sector with headshots.
I heard that his attack the power plant brings
Let's
up a lot of
see, so we
questions.
need...
Are they communicating?
Yeah,
Coordinating?
exactly.
What about the plant tracked at them?
The power plant is largely confidential.
Okay,
No
we're in
use guessing
central
at his motives if
executive,
we
so
don't
we
even
are
know
in the
what
executive
energy
area,
is.
so...
What do you mean?
Alright, so now we got shatter, that's cool. Can add a mod in here to rate of fire, shatter recoil efficiency, projectile boost. I think recoil would probably be the best, that way it's like more manageable.
The fusion reactor. There's no
Alright,
other
so I
way
need to
do
find
it.
some enemies, I need to hit them with headshots. Kill them specifically with headshots, so... Let's see... I don't know why it's giving me, like, keyboard controls while I'm using the controller. Oh, maybe I have to kill him at the cafeteria. So I don't see any enemies this way. I wonder what turning on all these little, like, radios does. Alright, I know the cafe has enemies, so... Let's try that. Boardroom.
Hope has asked us to document the history.
Sector elevator. Where's the cafeteria? This way. Okay, some enemies up here. Well, I got smacked around a little bit while doing that, but maybe if I plop them like over. Whoa, 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 whoa there, buddy. There we go, and then I can. Okay, that's a better way to do it. You got a strat. Is that it? Nobody else wants to get bopped? I wonder if I can get it to reset, maybe. I also kind of wonder if I can go in here, yeah. Okay. how do I respawn these enemies? Is what I want to know. Oh, I'm gonna pick this up. Havana, AWE 48. Event summary. An auditory event occurred in the United States Embassy in Havana, injuring the majority of diplomatic staff stationed there. Blank deaths were reported, and the ongoing information has been managed. Event response. Bureau agents arrived at the embassy on the same day as the event was reported through federal channels, but were too late to witness the AWE, which is reported to have been blank. Staff experienced sudden, intense vibrations and noise, accompanied by an intense pressure in the ears. This lasted for blank minutes. No visual phenomena was witnessed. The scene was cordoned off, and the embassy staff were transported to the continental U.S. After Formula I.9 was recited in the vicinity, a single cowboy boot began to vibrate, identifying it as an altered item. The item was contained and brought to the Bureau for examination. See case file AI85 for details. That's kind of cool. A fucking cowboy boot. I always knew that cowboy boots were evil. You don't have to tell me twice. Alright, maybe out here. Need to find some more enemies to bother. Really? None? No enemies? Oh. Got some stuff I missed. To whom it may concern, I am being contacted by the past presidents of the United States of America. They appear as spirit guides, giving me their wisdom. John Adams keeps saying I need to fix America, but I can't really understand him. They all have a lot of opinions. People tell me I'm imagining it, but Theodore Roosevelt showed me how to fix my lawnmower. I don't know a thing about lawnmowers. Explain that. I have great dead men telling me about the past and the present. If you'd like to use my abilities to help run the government, please let me know. I know the White House could use me. Yours in earnest, James Bartholomew. That's pretty awesome. Hell yeah. Hello, avid readers. The Bureau Book Bunch will convene at the usual spot in the corner table of cafeteria at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Currently discussing Unless You by J.D. Brooks. Everyone should get their reviews to me by Monday before lunch so I can generate some conversation starters before the meeting. Happy reading, Penny Bartwell. Oh.
Stepping to the FBC, there's lots to do, there's lots to read, but don't dash, and don't scream much. Let's join the treasure keys. Let's join the treasure keys.
What the fuck? That's fine.
Director's a puppet! A very fat person!
Dad says my mama went missing
wish someone would find her.
I'll help you look, Topher. We'll find your mama together.
Wow, that was a thing. All I want is some enemies to shoot in the head. They sound very trustworthy. Alright, sounds like they're... Oh, now there's an enemy. This whoa. There we go, Jesus Christ. Oh, shit. Grab all the health. This. I know, I never miss, like, it's such a gift to be this talented. Ow, what is he doing, folks? Oh, God. We're almost there, at least. Oh, dude. Shit. Oh, fucking hell. Oh my god. There are two. Oh, my health. Oh my goodness. Are you serious, dude? Aw, man. I didn't get him. Him either. Now I'm dying. That didn't count. That was a headshot. Did I complete it? I'm confused. Oh, fuck. There we go. I know one of them is to use it in shatter mode, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break out. I'm gonna see if I can switch to the other. Oh god! Fuck you! I don't know if I have to go to the. I think I have to go to the control points to switch my quests. So let's do that. Eat a dick.
The situation got worse.
I saw Trench and Darling.
Low health boost. Cool. Kill demolition experts. I wonder if I can accept... Oh, I can accept all of these. Or I can accept some of them. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Kill enemies in the executive sector. So I don't have charge maneuvers yet. So let's. How do I?
Arguing a couple weeks ago.
How do I change this one? Son of a
Trench
bitch.
is furious.
Okay.
You don't think Darling...
So.
Don't be stupid. What would the Bureau's golden child have to gain from killing?
Wrong way. I think I came from. Which way did I run in? Get there. Through here? Pretty sure. Alright. How do I change my weapon mode? Ah, okay. Now I got the shotty. Alright. Didn't like that. Oops. Oh shit. Shatter mode does so much damage. Taking the shotty. Oh my god! Alright, shatter mode's pretty sweet. Oh my god! Where did that come from? Oh, up there. Hey. I'm coming, Vish. You just wait. Hell yeah. Yeah, I know, this gun is fucking sick. I am digging it. Oh, let's try 2. Consecutive kills boost. Ooh. Energy boost. Hell yeah. Discards. Using spin. This Rangers. So let's do that. And they know how to use your soldiers, humans, totally smart. Okay. Alright, you guys gonna spawn or what? Communications. Is this still executive? Alright, we'll find it. The fucking pet plot. Thematics. Okay, been in there. Just kinda want some enemies to spawn here. Oh, maybe I should equip some of these upgrades. That might be cool. Alright, let's see what we got here. Energy boost. I definitely need some more slots for some of these, I think. Shatter efficiency, headshot boost. Let's see if we can... Consecutive kills, low health boost. Rate of fire. 31% more damage when I'm at low health. Seems like a good idea. What about this? I mean, I like the recoil, but consecutive kills might be kind of sick too. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave this one on for now. Okay. Oh, there'll probably be guys here, I bet. Alright, can't go through there. And I can't go through there. Oh, wait. Yes, I can. Pay attention, Alberto. This is the last time I'm explaining this. Internal lockdowns are manually triggered events that lock one or all of the sectors by restricting the use of the sector elevator, effectively locking staff in their sector until the emergency is handled. They can only be lifted via the directorial override in maintenance once the director is satisfied that the situation is under control. External lockdowns are a bigger deal. Nothing in or out of the whole building. It's only triggered by a code red containment breach based on some complicated system that security and research slapped together. They can all be lifted once A, the threat has been neutralized, and B, a high clearance level individual gives the system the all clear. This process is not the same as the directorial override, so stop saying so in the documentation. I know it's confusing as hell. I've told Darling 100 times to change it, but they're adamant it stays the way it is. Honestly, I don't think they even know how to change it at this point. Let's just make sure our staff understand how this mess all works, okay? Marshall. It's based off of Code Red Mountain Dew. Code Red Mountain Dew is an object of power, obviously, so... It's kind of... Is that like a poison? Oh, it hurts. Oh my god, it's killing me. I thought I could get in there and grab it. Well... Yeah, I died real fast. Alright, take me back here. And it was just some material, so I don't know if I necessarily need to risk it to go back there. I don't know, that's kind of cool that I found something that I hadn't already. Yeah, it is fast-acting poison, that's for goddamn sure. That killed me so quick. Alright, usually there's dudes in here, right? I don't know, they spawned last time I came in here. I guess they're just like We're gonna gaslight Aniki today. Okay. Cool. Here we go. Where are you? Oh, down there. Yeah. Parkour. What are you shooting at me for? Hmm? Hmm? Where'd you go, bitch? Oh, there you go. Somebody shot a rocket launcher at me. They're probably all up here. You're gonna catch the stool. To the jaw. Where's that jaw at? The fuck? I know somebody shot a rocket at me. Are they gone? Do they just fuck off? Ah, there you go. Yeah, he doesn't want the stool action. Hotline chamber. I don't think there are any enemies here. Alright, this takes me back to the director's office. Central executive. I don't know, I feel like completing these like countermeasure things would probably be a good idea to like upgrade and whatnot, so. Ooh, I'm getting some ability points too, hell yeah. Alright, I don't have enough ability for that. Melee, launch damage. Launch explosives. Oh shit. That sounds cool. Launch enemies. Okay. Let's put some points into launch. That sounds pretty cool. Hell yeah. Oops. 4 countermeasures. Okay, so I don't have charge yet. I don't have spin. Hiss guards. Using spin. Hiss rangers using shatter. Alright, let's see. What mods did you give me? Health permit. Launch energy cost negative 8%. I definitely need more. I need more slots before I worry about stuff like that. That's the elevator. Oh shit, I can open some of these. Guess I should be checking all of these to see if I can open them or not. They're really not gonna spawn now that I picked something up. Got these chair legs, yo. Looking pretty tasty, right? Somebody might want to eat them. You bastards, you made me waste that. How dare you? Anybody gonna spawn? I mean, I probably could continue, I guess, my mission or whatever, and I could probably complete some of these as I go. I suppose. Oh, here we go. It's like, where are you going? Going nowhere, motherfucker. Who else wants some? I know you so desperately do. There we go, I see him down there. Where'd you go? Eat it. Oh shit! Oh shit, where'd he go? Oh no! I can't see! Oh my god. bitch ass. I hate it when left stick is. It's just like such a shitty way to like run off. Oh. Okay. We live in. Alright, so got that one. And we got that one. Using spin, pierce, charge. Okay, so I don't have any of these yet, but I guess what I'll do is I'll just start grabbing some of these. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I prefer it to be like R1 or R2 or something like that. I wonder if I can change it. But wait, R1 is my telekinetic ability, so. What? There's something in dead. Oh no, I'm in dead letters. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Alright, give me 1 second here. I gotta run to the restroom real fast. I will literally be back in like a few seconds. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, it does feel like, I don't know, it feels like a dated control scheme, that's for sure.
A lot of these questions could be answered by obtaining a live specimen.
Alright, let's go to the sector elevator.
Dein word meet me in the maintenance.
Like I said before, the janitor is a
I
friend.
know, I was gone forever. The janitor... I wonder if the janitor is even human. He kinda... I wonder if the janitor is the bad guy. He's the cause of all these problems. He used the incorrect cleaning chemicals on the building.
The maintenance sector is the janitor domain. If I can find Ahti here, he can help me reach the override. Maybe it was you who got me into the oldest house with the lockdown on. Maybe it was Ahti. It felt like he made the elevator appear that took me to Trench's office. Is Ahti guiding me too?
I mean, Ahti seemed pretty cool, you know?
The directorial override is right there, in the control room. How do we get there?
How do I get there? Was it? Or are there more guys I gotta kill? I guess there's some more guys I gotta kill. Gotta kill some more bad guys. Maybe. Ventilation. Okay, so maybe I have to like crawl through something. Hey, it's indiscriminate, okay? You know. If I need to go blasting somebody, I just start blasting. Bad people. Oh, now it will let me cleanse it. That's weird. I had to like walk away from that. That's odd. Hell yeah. Wonder. Can't go that way. Yeah, I'm a bad bitch. I'm a psychic bad bitch. Oh no. Let's go down here. Maybe I should have killed all the guys up there first. If I could figure out how to get back up here. Juke him. What? I shot him in the face. I call bullshit. Totally shot a dude in the face. His glowy face. I wonder what they mean about losing like 10% of my source when I die. I wonder if there's a way I can like regain that or something. The trash can of doom. Alright, there's a bunch of poison that way. pick up something explosive by accident? Blow myself up? Oh, that hurt. Let's switch to our long-range bow. How do I do that? That didn't switch it. How do I... Oh, there we go. I'm not long range. Ah. Over here, but I don't want to get too close to that. Oh my god. So many bullets. So many bullets. Here we go. Eat it. There we go. I think we're good. Dropped a mod. Don't mind if I do. It's like, no, fuck you, beep boop. Snooping, there we go. Oh, that's true. Yeah, like if I never die. Well, I've already blundered that, so...
What's down that way?
Janitor's office is that way, but... A mercy chase. Or a Mary chase. What is the merry-go-round horse object of power?
Ugh, this place makes me nauseous. An object of power? How do you think it got down here? A carousel horse. Why is kid stuff always so creepy?
B to evade. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, got me. Oh, cool. I can air evade. That's sick. Hell yeah. I'm mad it took it that long to get me an evade. Shit. Old enemies are immune to Jesse's attacks. Okay. So I guess I just have to get past them while evading. Ooh, yeah. Hell yeah, about time I have a fucking, like,
Let's see if it has to
evade.
keep up with me now.
Much better. Much better. This is gonna make life so much easier. Bright ass light. Jesus Christ. Hell yeah. Shatter projectile boost. What? Can I not turn it on? Ah, alright. Stuff over here. Another creepy ass episode. The Federal Bureau of Control. Picasso.
Hey man, what are you drawing? I'm drawing a dog!
I'm drawing the pyramid.
The what?
The pyramid.
The dial-up noise.
What's a pyramid?
A black pyramid. It's in the astral plane.
Airplane?
Astral plane.
Jackass.
It's big, white, and empty. Or is it? It's a weird, crazy alien dimension. The white goes on forever. You can get lost in all that white and never find your way back home.
I miss my home.
That's why your dumbass is named Topher. She's 100% trustworthy. Oh, it uses some of my energy to dash. Okay, that's good to know. Sheriff's office is that way. I just kind of want to look around. Oh, good thing I did. Threshold Remnant. Hell yeah. Well, let's go see Ahti. Or Ahi. His wild ass hair.
Well done. You got the job. It's place for congratulations. Yippee, saatana. It happened in the last drop. I truly need an assistant.
Funny thing is, I've been a janitor. I'm more at home in that role than as the director.
This girl's had every job
Only Ahti
ever.
here seems to see that.
Yeah, hi, Ahti. Look, we need to get the lockdown lifted, otherwise I can't get to the other sectors. Can you help me get to the override?
Yes, yes. Easy peasy. It's just around the corner. But first, we need to get you working. Very small, couple of hours job.
Something tells me it's gonna be more than that.
Yeah. You think there's a dog buried in this? I can tell you are not the yesterday's Krause's son. That's why you'll make a great assistant. Very well. I'll hit the facts on the table. Mä vaan kyllä sanon perkele suoraan, that this house has a vermin problem. A bad one. They've already messed up the cooling pumps. And the power generators of a power plant, perkele. And the pensioner inside is starting to feel the band around his head tighten. The situation needs to be fixed before the plant blows up. and we all disappear like a fart in Sahara.
Trying my best to keep up with this. Fix the coolant pumps and the power generators, otherwise the power plant will blow.
But don't you worry. I've left you clear instructions. You'll catch the end of the thread before I go to my vacation. The work's on the task board here. You can do later, when you have time.
Vacation? Right.
Yes, no one's gonna cancel my holiday or seat's gonna rattle. But don't worry at all. You'll take care of it and soon this crisis gonna be last winter's snow. You better go now, so you don't have to run with your head as your third leg. The door in the back leads to the plant.
The door in the back. That's great.
It seems like
Thank
he
you,
can
Al.
tell what he can hear our inner monologue too.
Yep. Burn the trash. Throw it in the fire.
Throw it in the
Burn it all. Burn it into a reindeer, not into a moose.
The fuck, dude. Yeah, everything you're saying totally makes sense. 100%. Turn it into a reindeer and not the moose. It is clear as day. New favorite guy, yeah. He's pretty cool. Oh, alright. You guys are back. Guess what, bitches? I can dodge now. You know what? I'm gonna put my fucking shoddy back on. If I figure out how to do that. Except that it's not. How do I change? What button is it to change? I thought they said it was. Oh, there it is. Let's go, bitches. About my abilities again. It's time to run. There we go. I don't even know if I actually need to go back this way. I just thought maybe there'd be something. Ow! I didn't think it would have that much explosion. Oh, there's a guy right there. Oh, no. No. Hey, FM, what's up? I heard you are taking your final exam for your thing. You're gonna kill it. Wait, did this take me like way back, or do I have to? No, I still got the quest. yeah? Yeah, this game's really cool. I'm either a psychic or I have some sort of maybe like cryptid or being or something that is like gives me psychic powers. I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of vague. It hasn't said yet. All I know is I can yeet things and I get cool little dashes and stuff. How dare you dodge? Yeet. Yeet. I'm also the best shot you've ever seen. It's unquestionable, like Olympic level marksmanship. I'm like the guy from Terminator. The guy that like didn't need any of the crazy equipment to make his Olympic shots. The guy was a G. Oh god. Okay, so dude up there. So let's go up here. Whoa! Oh, I need something to pick up. Oh, I need to pick up. Oh, that's not good. Got him. Whew. Alright. I am more. I definitely went to the Stormtrooper Academy for precision shooting. You are 100% there. You are totally correct, Betsy. I kind of want to see if I can use my newfound clearance. Anything back here? Burn the trash around the furnace. Yes, I am still the Yeet champion. I have some other abilities now, which is pretty neat. Hell yeah, I can go in here now. Alright, what do you got for me? Case files and correspondence. Merry-go-round horse. OOP16-KE. Containment procedure. Object should be kept in a confined space when unbound. Description: para-utility. A fiberglass horse once used as a seat for a merry-go-round ride. The pole is still connected to the object. The object is capable of moving short distances at high speeds. This can be quite dangerous when blank its path. The object is currently bound by blank. Background. The object was discovered at the site of an abandoned amusement park. Local blank reported that rides would move on their own and that they would be chased out. Excuse me. When these rumors reached the Bureau, see America Overnight episode 235, agents were dispatched to investigate. 3 local blank were found dead at the scene. The object attacked Agent Blank by blank. Agents invoked Formula C.5 to blank the object long enough to blank. Okay. Yeah, I can turn that down in a sec. Here we go. Book Club. Unless You, reviewed by Captain Lopez. These days, most young adult novels intertwine the coming-of-age story with either a contrived dystopian setting or a tragic romance. Unless You manage to do both. In the story, the protagonist and her love interest search for a cure to a virus called the Fix, which is simultaneously killing her and spreading across the whole world. To find the cure, they go on expeditions into dangerous, uncharted territories. The people all lived in walled cities now because dystopian future. And along the way, they just have to fall in love. I like how we never got to know if the fix was ever actually fixed. The ending was bold, especially for young adults. The main character succumbs to the fix when she's so close to the cure and commands her love interest to go on and save the world. She knows this is the end for her, but that the job can still get done. She dies out in the unknown, alone and surrounded by danger, but never loses sight of the goal. That's a good soldier's death. I give this book a 3 out of 5. I feel most of the teenage angst is a little lost on me, but I recommend it to my brother's kids. Alright, let me adjust the audio just a bit on this so it's not quite as insano. Let's see, so let's bring this down to about here. And please let me know if this makes it too hard to hear anything. And I will readjust it. All right, let me put this so I can see Twitch again. Okay. Continuing onward. I didn't mean to do that. I've been playing so much of Player Obscura in between, like, at night that, like, I keep thinking that run is R2. I'm on my grind to level 99. I'm like level 80 something now, so I'm getting there. Pretty close. And I can't wait to finish grinding, because then I can go around and continue the story, so. No, so I'm still in Act 2. I've been in the Frozen Hearts area just grinding. So I've got a ways to go as far as, like, story. Expedition 33. I don't know, I got, like, really caught up in, I found a YouTube video about a build to turn Verso basically into a free aim machine gun. And in order to, like, kind of complete that build, like, you know, I need to be, like, higher level and stuff, so. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, in a way, grinding does kind of, like, cheapen, like, the combat a little bit, like, you know. But it's okay. I mean, I absolutely love the game. I love the story. It is now immediately in my top, I would probably say even my top 5, like, RPGs of all time, which is really high praise, so. Like, I really, really like it. Okay, so that led me back out here. Okay. So now I can loop around.
Okay, so what happens again if that thing blows up?
We all die. That's what Otzi said.
Too much. Director's duty.
Director's duty.
Lights on.
Remember, I gotta burn the trash in the furnace like reindeers, but not like moose. That is essential. That's exactly what Ati told us. Alright, correspondence. Ooh. Attention maintenance staff. An object of power escaped the Panopticon a couple weeks ago, and they want everyone to keep an eye out for it. So if anyone sees a merry-go-round horse zipping around the sector, alert me immediately. Do not try to contain it on your own, and definitely don't bind yourself to it. Your security chief, Simon Arish. Well, too late for that. I found it, and it is mine now, so. Now I can dash. Which is pretty cool. Boom! Power plant. By the way, is the sound a little bit better?
Hey,
Chief Arish in the security booth. He's in charge here.
Word. You're also just like, I don't know, they kind of look like they're just like floating on the ground. Hell yeah, nice. Gotta do my usual snooping. Ritual impulse, cool. Can't open that, at least from this side. Lots of stuff to yeet, so can only imagine.
Dangerous out here, lady. But go see Chief Arish. He's just inside.
Hey, I am not just any lady. I am the fucking director, alright? I'm your goddamn boss. But did that not work? Oh no, I guess it did. Ooh, alright. Let's upgrade our yeet some more. Because I want to get to this level of yeet where I can launch the enemies. Ooh, I can eventually launch 3 objects at a time. Hell yeah. Nice. That's pretty cool. Astral constructs. Ooh, do I have a new weapon for him? Oh shit, I can almost make spin. So I need some more stuff. What about mods? I mean, I can make these mods, but I kind of want to... do I want to hold off on these? I think I do, because I want to make spin and all that kind of crazy stuff, so... Alright. No, I can't push him. I'm gonna push him. This is definitely gonna... There's gonna be enemies, like, all over this fucking thing. There's no way. This is, like, set up for a battle, or possibly a boss battle. Oh yeah, we got some people floating over here with the fent flops. Yeah, definitely take a break. Don't give yourself any carpal tunnel there. Ooh, is there any secrets hidden under here? Alright, I probably should stop snooping. I don't know. I like finding stuff I'm not supposed to find. Elevator. Yep, can't get it in there. Okay. Let me go talk to dudes since they want me to. Furnace chamber is also this one. Good to know. Where I can throw the trash in the fire. As Ati told me to. Where the fuck is dude's office? It's a circle. I am lost in a circle. Okay, so it's gotta be this way. There's people this way. Okay, okay. We got it. We got it.
Ma'am! Hey! Chief Arish, FBC Security. Shouldn't you be in a safe?
They all have HRAs.
Will you stop yelling? Jesus.
We're on the same side.
My name is Jesse Faden. I'm here to perform the directorial override to get the lockdown lifted.
Yeah, Chief Arish, FBC Security. I'm just... Oh, hang on, you're the new director. It's a pleasure, ma'am.
Yeah, that's right. Change your tone.
Right. Faden, ma'am. Look, as you can probably tell, it's a bit of a shit show down here. We've been holding our ground, but whatever's gotten into our buddies has them wrecking the coolant pumps and the power converters. The NSC keeps overheating, and my crews keep getting shot before they have a chance to make any repairs.
NSC?
Oh, sorry. Bureau jargon. It's what we call the power plant. You know, the big rumbling metal thing. Salvador, head of security, asked me to protect it in case of an attack. See, what's inside is dangerous. Dr. Darling seemed to know it would be a target.
Darling? He's here?
No, he came down a few days ago, before everything went to hell. He was out of it. Smelled like a
Darling
barman. He was ranting about vulnerabilities and how he only had one large-scale HRA, but that he needed it somewhere else. Still, at least he gave us these personal HRAs before he left. Hey, did I mention that he was tearing his clothes off? Crazy dude.
Darling knew the hiss was coming.
Listen, I love playing 20 questions as much as the next guy, but we have got to get the water and electrical systems repaired before this baby blows. I'll have my guys unlock the doors out of here for you.
I'll take care of it. You stay and keep the hiss away from the plant if you can.
The hiss? That's what we're calling him? Oh, that's catchy. Oh, listen, the radios aren't working, so if you find my boss Salvador out there, could you please ask him what the plan is? I'm sure he will have one by now.
I'll keep an eye out for him.
He is probably infected too.
Boss.
Try to stay alive.
Alright. Let's see, is there anything cool in here? There is. Look at that. Oh, something over here. Hell yeah. Hey Simon, I got your message. Yeah, if someone in the sector is asking about Ati, just tell him you'll handle it and leave it at that. Under no circumstances should any personnel intervene with his day-to-day routine. I told you everything I know about him so you could better deal with his odd habits. But yes, it's still very much a classified matter. Also, I saw your report on the quarry worker who wandered into the Foundation. Detaining him was the right move. We'll figure out what he saw before we decide on the next steps. Cheers, Lynn. P.S. In case you hadn't noticed, something is up between Trench and Darling. I know this isn't your strong suit, but try your best to stay out of it. Wait, do I have something in...
Ring, ring. It's Dr. Darling calling. In 1978, a comms department intern heard the hotline ring and picked it up,
he's Darling.
going against every safety protocol in the manual. She never recovered. And the handful of witnesses required extensive memory repression therapy. It is a phone. It's an object of power. It doesn't connect to any typical network. A direct line to the astral plane and the board. And my hypothesis is, under the right conditions, to other planes of existence as well. Our very own Ouija board. Only the director can answer it safely, and what he hears is kept classified.
Ah. He is a sussy baka. Like, he seems friendly, but he also seems to be... the,
We ain't out of the woods yet.
problem. Let's see, so I need to go to the maintenance / burning chamber. How about I use my map? That might actually help. Map, are you just not really gonna help me that much? Maybe I need to go down the elevator? You know what? I don't think I've looked above security yet. But there is something up here. Somebody I wish I could push off the thing, because, you know, I'm totally not evil or anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Central maintenance. Energy converters. Oh, there's dudes in here now. Okay. Oh! Oh, hi. Hi, other guys I didn't know were in here. Let's go this way. Oh, there's a flying guy too. Oh my god. Oh my god. Run! Run! I'm holding the thing! Why won't you run? Okay, he dodges that. That guy doesn't dodge. There's a guy up top shooting at me. I should probably take care of. Oh no! Oh Jesus Christ! Just any and everything is just like trying to kill me here. You know, I had a feeling that these flying guys were going to be a regular enemy at some point. Oh my god. Every direction! Every direction! Yeet! Yeet! All the yeets! Oh, fuck me! Oh, Jesus Christ. Run, 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 jump! Oh no! This is a problem. That's right, bitches. Let me get some health. Let me get the health. Alright. Ah. You floaty bitch. Just let me shoot you in the face. It's okay. It's the way it should be. This is how it has to be. Thank you. Fucking shit. God damn. Well, that was rough. I think it just like completely caught me off guard. That's what my cope is here. It's totally why that happened. I can't even go this way. That's lame. Alright, let's go through here. I'm sure we're gonna have some bros to fight in here, probably. Oh, yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Run away.
That sound.
I'm almost dead. I need the health. Give me the health. Did I get them? I get them all. Oh my god, it's like getting all janky. Oof, we live it. Why are you being so slow? Go back. It's being all fucking janky now. Like I don't know if I'm lagging or what. Maybe if I pause it for a sec? Maybe? Yeah, that's true. I mean, my PC needs like a serious upgrade, like I don't know. Just a lot of these parts are really old and like my graphics card is only a GeForce 2060, so it's not like anything like crazy. I mostly need to like I really need an upgrade for like my motherboard because my motherboard's really old, and I'm sure my CPU probably needs some like thermal paste, and that probably I just need like all around a new PC, pretty much. But it's just so goddamn expensive. And of course I gotta prioritize paying bills first, so you know. Don't really have anything extra. Though, if anybody wants to ship me any hand-me-down PCs that are better, we can figure that out. That'd be sick. Because I certainly don't expect anybody to buy me anything, because that's a lot. Most people don't have like $1,000 or so just sitting around, so. Oh, I know you would, Pensy. It's okay. Hey, we do what we can with what we got, so. An examination of paranatural topics, thresholds. The oldest house is a place in flux. Thresholds appear with no warning. What the threshold will contain is a question we can only answer once it manifests. The widely accepted theory is that thresholds are dimensions vibrating on a blank frequency different from our own. When these frequencies match the threshold, will manifest in the oldest house, which acts as a blank. Others theorize thresholds are parallel universes or possibly our own reality at a different point in time. Some believe in our collection of altered materials affects the house or attracts the thresholds. We do know for certain that thresholds are not permanent. Eventually, their frequency will shift. Some believe Earth itself is just another threshold connected to the oldest house, which is actually rooted in some other reality. This theory, while impossible to disprove, causes blank in those who learn of it, so it is actively denied. Refer to file 5-05-1881 for the full report. Yeah, that's rough. Honestly, a new preboot on sale might benefit. Parts are scuffed right now. Been trying to get a laptop for a while. It's been impossible. Yeah, it's just like, you know, even like the pre-builts, like I just you know, with the way things are, I just don't have enough to you know, do anything, so it's okay. We're working on it, you know. Like I said, I got the Patreon up now. So that will be helpful, you know, like anybody subscribing is helpful. I don't know. I'm not like, you know, begging for money or anything here. It's just oh, Jesus Christ. Where? I don't even see these guys. Oh. You know, I'm just grateful to have what I have, so. Like, I can play some games, and I can do my artwork, and I can stream, and that's what matters. Oh, when did I switch to my shotgun? I don't mean to do that. Oh my god, it's so janky. I might need to restart the game. Although we're getting pretty close to like a stopping point, I think, here for today's stream. So we'll see. Especially since it's getting janky. My AC is broken again too, so that might not be helping the cooling in my CPU either, so. I got the windows open at least. Listen, Trench. Listen, Trench is on the warpath about this Tennyson report thing. He wants to know who wrote it, and he wants to know yesterday. Whoever did this is gonna get crucified. I don't know if it was one of you guys, and I don't want to know. I'm not super keen on leading a witch hunt, so tell everyone in the sector to keep their heads down. Best not to be on anyone's radar right now, you know? I tell ya, not even counting all the weird shit we deal with, this place can be a downright hostile work environment sometimes. Hey. Yeah, hey, I got Havoc, I got you guys, I got Vegeta. You know what? That makes me happy. I'm working on my health. I am getting in much better shape, so I'm very happy about that. Can I not just go in this through here? Okay. Oh my god, it's so chunky right now. So crunchy and scuffed. Code of defense. Or a good defense. Oh my god. How did I even read it that way? What the fuck? Alright. I think I need to go back to a save point and probably top the stream off for the day. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Oh yeah, I mean it's really hard when you have like, you know, something going on like that. Oh, I can shoot these. Let me switch my gun. Come on. No, that worked anyway, so. Alright, I'm gonna go back and save. Yeah, back injuries are no joke, so definitely, you know, be super, super careful. And it sucks too, because I think something that would probably benefit you health-wise would probably be like a pool. But, you know, you can't do that like year-round, and I don't know how close of like an access you have to something like that, so. Alright, hopefully. Man, that's such a long time ago. I'm so sorry, Betsy. Alright, I think this is a pretty good place to stop. I'm gonna go ahead and throw you guys in the lobby here. If I can get my mouse over to my other screen. Why? There it is. Haha! Ha ha ha. Alright, well I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today while we played some Control. I really like this game. You know, I'm totally amazing at it. I'm in the best shot, and like I am so good at the combat. It is undeniable. You know, you should give me an Olympic gold medal for being so good at this game. Please follow me if you like the content I do. Consider subscribing, especially if you have Amazon Prime. There's a little button for it that would help me out tremendously. Again, another shameless self-plug, I do have a Patreon. It is linked in all my profiles, including my socials. So be sure to check that out for exclusive content. I will be back tomorrow. We are actually going to be working on some of the Otomi game characters and different assets for the game we are working on. I'm gonna try to stick to that and make sure we get this done, we get our projects off the ground. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful day. Until then, bye.